Bust it.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to Political Platform on Repa FM. My name is Amechi Anakwe. Now, some developments outside Nigeria. Let's start from South Africa. Jacob Zuma yesterday bowed to pressure to step down as president. We'll hear Cyril Ramaphosa will likely be sworn in as his replacement. Of course, the leader of the party, ANC African National Congress, is usually the man that should be the president, and they are following that tradition. And in Zimbabwe, a neighboring country to South Africa, the opposition leader Morgan Tsvangirai, he did so much to wrestle power away from Robert Mugabe. He did not succeed. He died at 65. So, two great events in the southern tip of Africa. Back home, the attention is in the National Assembly, where the reordering of sequence of the election appear to be the order of the day. Of course, both chambers harmonized their positions yesterday. Of course, throwing up 3 election dates. They proposed that the first elections in 2019 general election and subsequently should be solely National Assembly election. Then the second round of the elections should be state governorship and houses of assembly election. And the last one, the presidential election. 9 senators walked out. They said there are about 54 of them who are not happy with this development. Their leader, Abdullahi Adamu, former governor of Nasarawa State, said the amendment is targeted at the president, Muhammad Buhari, and that it was rushed. And they are asking, why the haste? We shall be speaking with someone who is indeed part of the election system in Nigeria to get his input. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the man appointed by the president to really reconcile all the factions in APC, appeared to have swung into action. He visited the FCT, the headquarters of the APC yesterday in Abuja, where he was welcomed by the party chairman. The first time Tinubu is visiting the party secretariat, and of course some columnists, newspaper columnists advised Tinubu to start the reconciliation with the party. He was the first person to openly call for the sack of Digi Oyegu as APC's chairman. Now, 2 of them are working together in the spirit of reconciliation. I have my colleagues in the house. Adeboye Obodore is with us.
Yeah, Amishi, let me begin from Zimbabwe. And it's a sad thing that Tsvangirai died. But for me, if you look at his antecedent before he formed his own party, he was also part of the team, the group that galvanized the people of Zimbabwe towards attaining independence in 1980. Then he fell out, formed his own party, and he was being propped up by the West. Again, push the people of Zimbabwe really say it's against their interests, and that accounted for the several times he contested the election and lost. But there was one takeaway from him, is that he prevented a situation where we will return to a one-party state in Africa, as it was witnessed in the 70s and the 80s. For South Africa, I think, like I said yesterday, it is a good thing that we have an African country where party supremacy is not only written, it is observed. And in other democracies, it is also happening. If you recall the election in the United States of America, which Al Gore lost in a controversial manner, he was proceeding to court, and the Democratic Party has to call him to order, go and withdraw, because they said his action has great implication, unpleasant consequences of robbing on the U.S. democracy and its image. So why are we shying away from party supremacy in Nigeria? Okay. That is what we should be asking.
Okay, Uju Eje is also in the house with us.
Bayo Bodunri, if I have to chip in a bit on the question you asked, I think is because after the 79 era, if I should just say that dispensation that produced Shehu Shagari as president, of course, Akinloye as the party chairman at that time, the ruling party, the NPN. You find that was the only era that you could talk about party supremacy a bit. And of course, when the PDP started, there was also a level of party supremacy. You recall when they would tell the then president Olusegun Obasanjo, no, you cannot do this. This is not how it's done. And he will recant. That we had a bit of that, but I think that the greed of our leaders have also contributed to what we are seeing. Because by the time you start depending on the elected party officials for, the perks of office, you collect money from them. Of course, you give them unnecessary muscles, you give them unnecessary power to begin to do what they want. Like right now, you see the governors running the show in almost the major political parties, because they know that those there may not be able to do without the money that they bring. And money, again, when you talk about the electoral process which has been monetized, they also need this money to get things done. I think we need to get back to the basics and begin to do things right. Like somebody suggested, bring up a case, a system whereby party members can contribute, even if it's little amounts on a monthly basis, so that the party truly belongs to the members and the people, and then you cannot hold your elected officials accountable.
Ijeoma Osamoah is also with us.
Well, Amechi, thank you. I still think what happened in South Africa is a lesson for Nigeria to learn, because it has shown us that the party is stronger than the individual. If the institution can be strong, because the problem we have in Nigeria today is coming from the foundation, which is from the political party. Like Uju said, if you allow people that are already in office to pay for the party or to take care of the finances of the party will not be in the hands of those people, and democracy will not be entrenched anymore. So what Nigeria needs to do is to first of all go to the party, try and see if parties can be reorganized, because we are having challenges even up to office holders because of what is happening in the political parties. I've always stood here to say our political parties are getting it all wrong, whether it's PDP, APC, or whatever. The 67 political parties that we are experiencing in Nigeria, they have the same belief. They have a member who is so strong, that member becomes the otoknadu of the party because the member has the financial strength. That's not democracy. Then what happens to those who have ideas? What happens to those who have leadership wherewithal in the political party? They don't have place to come out. So if this country will move forward politically, what we should do is to first of all reorganize the political parties. To me, I think these parties, they should dissolve them and start another one.
Utibe Umoren completes our number.
Thank you very much, Amechi. Interesting development indeed from South Africa. But I think my question would be, should the ANC be clapping for itself now? Because hitherto the ANC has been the party protecting Jacob Zuma in office. Jacob Zuma would have lost the vote of confidence of the past 5 years, but he has always survived because the ANC had been backing itself. The council elections were held in South Africa last year, local elections, and the ANC
lost a lot of ground. So they knew that they're heading into a general election later in the year, so they needed to put their house in order. And if the general clamor had been that Jacob Zuma is a bad candidate, he had lost his credibility, the scandals were becoming too much. We must emphasize that he has not been convicted or charged before any court, but at the same time the scandal had just refused to go away. They kept mounting.
They really had no choice than to take the decision they took. But sad that the man had to allow himself to go out this way, which is always a fundamental problem of African leaders. They don't know when the version dies down, when their popularity dips and they take a walk. Just neighboring Zimbabwe, we saw what happened to Mugabe. He had to wait till he was more or less kicked out from office.
Well, if Jacob Zuma had not resigned yesterday, a no confidence vote would have come up in South African Parliament. And like Utibe Umoren pointed out, several of it took place in the past, and Jacob Zuma scaled through because of the support the majority party in that parliament, the ANC, provided. Like you rightly mentioned, it was when, of course, it was glaring that maybe the democratic alternative, the main opposition party in South Africa, may make additional gain against the ANC in next year's general election. that they felt they needed to save the party. We'll just have to bring in your opinion at this stage. When we come back, we'll start with one advice we gave you sometime on this program, that you can belong to a political party. You can be a member of a political party in Nigeria, even if you're a public servant, even if you're a civil servant. We mentioned about a judgment by the Supreme Court, and we can tell you that Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu has, of course, spoken up, and he has made our assignment light. You can become a member of a political party despite your position as a public servant. Before then, let's get to hear your mails.
Hello and welcome to the mail segment. I am Osaitin Yari.
I am Chidima Enyi. You're welcome.
We begin reactions to the resignation of South African President Jacob Zuma. Omeni Davidson in Lagos says the recent resignation of South African President Jacob Zuma should be a huge lesson to Nigeria and other African countries. The undaunted actions of the ANC members is a clear indication of a modest and sound political system in South Africa, of which our dear nation, Nigeria, should emulate. Jacob Zuma, we all know, had been ridiculed with various corruption cases and controversies, prompting the ANC to take decisive action just to preserve its integrity and the heart for democracy. Nigeria must learn greatly from this in order to save our own democracy. God bless Nigeria.
And towards latest development in the National Assembly, Henry Ewunonu in Abuja says, I don't seem to understand the hullabaloo in the National Assembly over the reordering of the 2019 general election sequence. Pundits have variously confessed that it was President Muhammadu Buhari's popularity and influence that most elected officials rode onto office. Now that the legislators want everyone to answer to his father's name, why are some crying foul? If indeed President Buhari's much touted integrity and impeccable popularity are not an illusion, let every man carry his cross. Let President Buhari's achievement and good name carry him through.
Uchenna Okoronkwo in Abuja titles his mail as the veteran crosses the Rubicon. The mail reads, Dear Platform crew, it is with a feeling of joy and satisfaction that I celebrate a senior citizen, a consummate team player, a balanced and objective analyst, and a radio television broadcast icon, our own Augustine Ohiria Agbonsuremi, for a meritorious service to the Nigerian nation, which he eloquently and distinctively exhibited on the Repower and AIT networks of the Dark Communications platform. Dear Ohiria, enjoy your deserved rest. After all, rest, they say, is sweet after work. That's where we draw the curtain on this segment.
Thank you so much for remaining with us. Let's start with your status as a Nigerian, as a voter. Have you gotten your voter's card? And next says extra 4 million have been registered since the continuous voter registration exercise started, and that they are increasing the outlets where the registration process are going on. So please do go and get your card. You can also be part of a political party by picking up a membership card. Even as a public servant, before now, the widely held belief is that as public servants, civil servants, you should not be part of it. You should not be partisan by joining political parties. But we told you earlier on this program some time ago that there's a judgment that cleared the hurdle. Of course, there are some acts, some laws, which of course are all inferior to the constitutions that prohibits civil servants from joining political parties. Of course, there are some civil service rule, electoral act, INEC guideline. But we can tell you, according to, of course, Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu, who was speaking in one forum yesterday in Abuja, that there's a judgment in 2003, a Supreme Court judgment, INEC versus Musa and others. And the judgment was delivered by no other person than former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Mohammed Uwais. And he ruled as Section 40 of the Constitution, which guarantees every Nigerian right to assembly, right to associate with any other person or belong to any organization, is superior to all these other acts and regulations barring public and civil servants from joining politics. So you can take advantage of this irrespective of your status as a civil servant.
Well, I think it's a good development, but for somebody who is having a political government, a government produced by a political party, there is also danger there. The way and manner that they will maneuver in such a way that it will not rub on them is what they should have probably work out for. These are issues that one will expect Nigerian Labour Congress to spearhead on behalf of workers. You know, if it is true that they can belong, there's a judicial pronouncement, and constitutionalism is developed through judicial pronouncement. So it's a matter now that civil servants can join politics. But if they join, who protects them? Yeah. Because I see the level of victimization, witch hunting that could probably that it will result into.
Well, let's take you straight to the National Assembly. We told you 9 senators walked out yesterday, led by former governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Adamu. They said the amendment, the harmonization of the amendment to the Electoral Act, reordering the sequence of the election, was done in bad faith. Of course, so many arguments, both for and against. Some of our writers reflected it on our mails. But let's bring in Abiodun Ajijola. He is a member of the Election Monitor. Thank you so much for joining us. What's your take on the action of the National Assembly?
Well, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you can hear you clear.
Okay. Some of us, we are concerned because about a year ago, INEC had already come out with a statement saying that they had a particular date for the election next year. And then just a few weeks ago, which is about a year from the time when they initially announced it, they came out with a timetable saying that the election was to hold on the 16th of February next year and the 2nd of March. And they brought out a comprehensive timetable. So I think some of us are concerned because what is happening now seems to be a kind of infringement on the independence of INEC, where we thought that if the National Assembly had issues with the date, since they have committees within both arms of the legislature, the Senate Committee on INEC is there, House Committee on Electoral Matters is there. So we thought that they could have used some of these committees to reach out to INEC over 1 year ago when the dates were initially announced to discuss and liaise as to their what they think dates could be, and this could have been done in a kind of INEC legislative discussion. But now that the timetable is out and then now this is being done, it's going to create, as you see yesterday, there was walkout of some senators. Definitely, it will have certain, it will appear in a way, it will look somehow, it doesn't look as altruistic to most people. So what I am saying is, I understand the reason why they want to do it that way, to give more independence to the legislators during their elections, so that...
Do you think we'll make efforts to get him back. Ijoma, you want to add something here? Because the argument has been that it's targeted at some parties. Some said, no, we need to make provision for the smaller parties to have a possibility of being elected in the parliament. These are some of the issues. Well, maybe some comments why we make efforts to get.
Yeah, I think if you look, if you go back, the issue of the sequence of election has been a controversial issue, particularly since the Second Republic. The order of elections, the first election that took place in 1979, did not follow that format of presidential election first and the rest, and it was the second election in 1983 that the whole thing was changed. And the quarrel of many people with this system is the impression of a bandwagon effect that will probably influence the outcome of the election. If you look at 1979 election, for instance, the governorship election took place last, and there was realignment, and that is what paved way for, in Kaduna State, for instance.
I think we have Ajijola back on the line. Hello, are you back now?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I was trying to say is, for some of us, the issue is not so much about one doesn't understand the fact that having National Assembly elections, separately will kill the bandwagon effect. Because as you know, the way it is in Nigeria, when you have National Assembly elections, you may have the presidential ticket overshadowing all other elections on that same day. And that's why today, if you check the National Assembly, you find out that the PDP, for example, have almost all the senators in the South-South are PDP and in the South-East. Because in 2015, the presidential candidate of the PDP was popular in the Southeast and the Southwest, Southeast and South-South. And that was how the National Assembly seat followed sway for the party. And likewise for the APC, if you see the PDP, APC in the North and the Northwest, is majorly they dominate most of the senatorial and the Federal House of Reps seats. So what you can see from all this is that the legislators have probably seen that, look, they need to have their independence. And what I am saying is that this is an argument that they could have put forth a long time ago. So I think what we are faced with here is an issue of procedure as opposed to an issue of correctness, as it were. So I think they should have followed a better approach, especially since they have direct link and access to INEC.
Biodu, it seems you are saying that this will affect the INEC timetable. But what the National Assembly did is just to change the sequence. Will that also affect the timetable, the dates of the election?
Yes, what they have done is to change the sequences and also to add another date that wasn't there before. Because before we need to do elections for 2 days. Now the elections are going to take 3 days.
That's 3 different days.
3 different weekends, right? And so that's number one. And the elections don't follow each other week after week. So what we normally have is a 2 weeks interval between elections. So what they are going to have probably now is you have election maybe in the first week of February, then the third week of February, then March. So the country will be doing election for 6 weeks. That's the first challenge. The second challenge is that the huge cost implication, because the ad hoc workers, for example, must be engaged on every single day for election. So, for example, if you are dealing with 360 Senate House seats and 109 senatorial seats, 469 seats, that is across the whole country. And you will deploy ad hoc officials. And you're going to do this 3 times, right? So that's going to bring in a huge cost to the process, which wasn't there. But the most fundamental issue is that the Commission, INEC, has the prerogative to choose dates, to choose sequence, to do anything that has to do with election management.
So what you said in effect is that rather than resorting to the amendment of the electoral, the National Assembly members should have reached out to INEC to see ways the INEC can take the initiative by being on the driver's seat.
Yes, I think this for me would have, because we are now talking about an issue of procedure. I think this could have been done last year.
Okay.
While the INEC had first come out with the timetable.
We'll have to thank you.
The issue.
We have to thank you so much, Abiodun Ajijola of the Election Monitor, for joining us.
Thank you for having me on the show. Bye-bye.
Amici, you find that some people still believe strongly that what the National Assembly has done, even if you look at our mails this morning, is something that would afford people who ordinarily would not have an opportunity to make it in the election because of the bandwagon effect to, be able to make it, because this time people will be free. The bandwagon effect
of the presidential election on the National
because
Assembly
this time
election.
people will be free, to contest and be elected and to elect.
Wait, just one sentence. Is that the totality of it all is that we should look out for litigations and a possible controversy over the signing of the law.
Well, as you remember, when INEC came out with a timetable, it was also said that it is to preempt the amendment which was already in progress in the National Assembly. So however you look at it, politics would also always be imputed into what has been done. But it's unfortunate that senators will walk out and it will be captured as pro-Buhari senators, loyal to, I think senators should be senators of
I think even that working out really doesn't make a difference, because is it an aye or nay vote?
We'll have to go now. You don't expect less when it comes to elections. Politicians will go to any length. But of course, the major implication for me is that we have less than 1 year to voting day. February 16, just about 1 year now. Tomorrow will make it 1 year. We'll be going out to the polls to elect presidential and National Assembly members based on the timetable released by INEC. And we're having a huge problem on our hands. We hope this will be resolved in good time for preparations to continue. We'll do this again tomorrow. Thanks for being part of it. My name is Amechi Anapwe.